Well, hello. Beautiful Saturday morning here in Nairobi. Welcome to Reinvention Saturdays. I am super stoked and excited today to share with you the 6 powers of man. And as we just get ready to start here in 60 seconds, I want to thank all of you that tuned in last week. We had an amazing session at our Reinvention Saturday, and I got lots and lots of comments from all of you guys, really just saying, man, this was deep, you really helped me. Now I understand where I am in life. And you may have just watched that and you just walked away and be like, wow, that's really good. I mean, I would be so happy if you wrote to me and told me how that impacted you and how you're applying that in life right now to create the results that you want, and just how it's landing for you. I would really love to hear that. The second thing is also to appreciate all of you that have written requesting to start a growth journey, find clarity on your purpose. That is one of the things that I'm really passionate about. I believe strongly that if you have no clarity about what the bullseye is in life, if you don't have clarity of what the bullseye in life, any hit and miss will do. And so my encouragement to you is really get centered and clear on what your purpose is. And I could help you. Send an email to benjamin@kamoya.com, and someone is going to be in touch with you on how you could begin that journey to really get clarity on your purpose. All right, let's get to starting this. Today, we're talking about the 6 powers of man, the 6 powers of man. And for all of you who are joining, kindly just do this one thing for me. Like, comment, and share. It's right at the bottom. Like, comment, and share. It's the least that you could do to support this message to go out there. Reinvention Saturdays is about adding value to you. You are your most appreciable asset. And I know that if I continue to add value to you, you will get better, you will do better, and you will have better in your life. And that's my goal. This is my opportunity to distribute what has been given to me. Reinvention Saturdays. Let's quickly get into it. The 6 powers of man. The 6 powers of man. The objective of today's session is that you will become more tuned into and aware of your greatness. You will become more aware of that which already resides within you and how you can use it to create outstanding results in life. That's my goal today. That's the objective. And so when we talk about the 6 powers of man, and I'll break them down very quickly here, my goal is that you may use this information to become more causative, to enter into the creation process more intentionally. You remember when we were in primary school, we were taught the 5 senses. We were taught the 5 senses of smell, taste, touch, sight, and hearing. Those were the 5 senses we were taught, and we were told, class is over, go. We got a road deal. We did get a road deal, because there are other powers that we were never taught. I learned this stuff when I was in my 30s. Here they are. The 6 powers of man. I'm going to unpack them, and then quickly we will go into each one of them. And we're going to be looking at these powers of man through the lens of our role, which is creators. Okay? Our role as co-creators with God. That's the lens I'm going to look at this from. You see, if you go back to the beginning, in the beginning, God created man and created the world, and then he created man, and he gave man dominion. And so when someone gives you dominion, when God gives you dominion over every creepy thing and everything that flies in the air, over everything, when he gives you dominion, how do you execute that dominion? What powers has he given you for you to execute that dominion? And so these are the 6 powers that I'm going to share with you. And if you may ask, where do I find these 6 powers? Are they in my heart? Are they in my chest? Are they in my legs? Where are they? Where do I find them? Those powers are found between your ears. Those 6 powers are found between your ears. This is the location. This is the location where those 6 powers are. Let's get to the first one. Let's get to the first one. Now, let me give you a list for those of you who love this British curriculum style. These are the 6 powers. Number 1, intuition. Number 1, intuition. Number 2, reason. Number 2, reason. Number 3, memory. Memory. Number 4, perception. Perception. Number 5, will. Will. W-I-L-L, will. And then number 6, imagination. Imagination. I never knew these things. And the day I knew them, I was like, who was teaching us? Who was writing that curriculum? Why did you never teach us this thing? Because then I was in life, I was an entrepreneur, and I was struggling to create results. I was never really understanding the patterns. I was never really understanding what's going on behind the scenes while I'm trying to create this. Why am I not delivering and being as causative as I could be? Why am I not as causative as God created me to be? And when I knew this, then I stepped into this flow in harmony and alignment with how I have been created, how you have been created, and the powers that you have to create those outcomes. Let's go to the first one. Intuition. Intuition. Now, we are tripartite beings. We are tripartite beings. What that means is that we are 3 in 1. We're 3 in 1. In other words, we're spirit beings. We're spirit beings having a physical experience. We're physical beings. We are from God. We're spirit beings, and we have been gifted with an intellect. We've been gifted with an intellect, and then we live and move in a physical body, the one you're seeing right now. But the guy who's interacting with you is my spirit, and I've been gifted with an intellect, and I live and move in a physical body. And so these powers of man are actually powers that reside in the intellectual. They reside in the intellectual, but they have a link and connect with the spiritual, and they express themselves as well in the physical. So you can see how you are this seesaw, okay? You're this seesaw, right? Seesaw of your spirit, gifted with an intellect, live in a physical body, and you switch and move into different ways of expression through that continuum. So when we talk about intuition, if you separate those 2 words, in and tuition, it is tuition from the inside, tuition on the inside. Have you had this happen to you? You're sitting in your house, you're thinking about Auntie Jean, Auntie Mary, Uncle Joseph, Uncle Ben. You're thinking about, wait a minute, I haven't seen this guy in a long time. And then boom, the phone rings. When you pick it up, it's Uncle Ben calling. How did that happen? Is it magic? And you tell them, hey, Uncle, I just thought about you. Yeah, can you believe it? This is spooky. Or you're having a conversation with people somewhere about someone, and then the following week, they show up in your house. What is that? It is because the powers that God has given to man is being able to tap into information that is not in the physical realm about events, about things that are going to happen in the future, or that are going to happen or will happen. You're able to, through your mind, tap into that information. Napoleon Hill, in the book Think and Grow Rich, writes that the mind is like a broadcasting station. It can receive frequencies of information. You think about your radio, right? Like radio, you tune in, like yes, now BBC service news. You see those frequencies? Your radio, like a receiver, your mind is equally in the same way. A receiver that can receive information and transmit information at the same time. And so this idea that you can be seated somewhere, you're having thoughts about something, and then it manifests. You're like, wait a minute, I just thought about this. I saw this. I knew this before it happened. It's like deja vu in that moment. That's intuition. And that's one of the powers that God has given to man. And so if you're looking at this through the lens of an entrepreneur, what you find is that there are people who are able to quote unquote go into the future, find a product that people will love and appreciate, or a business solution that makes so much sense, and then come back into the present, design it, make it, and sell it to us. And then when they launch it to us, we're like, are you a genius? How did you know? How did you know we were going to need this? Do you know how much trouble we've had over the last 100 years? That's intuition. And all of us have got our ability to be intuitive. We just need to develop it. Now, most of you are probably hearing it for the first time, but you know you have intuition. You know this has happened to you. Now, you can develop your intuition. You can get better at your intuition, develop it. And that's one of the powers of man, being able to tap into information. And so how we use this in a business sense, I've gone into meetings, coaching sessions. Normally, this is what happens, 100% coaching sessions. But before coaching sessions, let me talk about meetings. I go into meetings and a question is asked and they say, this is what we're looking for. This is what we need. And I say, I don't have the answer right then. So I'm just saying, okay, I tap into my intuition. I just go in there and I say, tell me, what's the answer? What's out there? Make me aware, make me know. I'm whispering to myself. And the answer is made available to me, and I know. And I say, okay, these are my first thoughts. Boom, boom, boom. And I share. And the guys are like, wow, that sounds really good. I think we could do that. Wow, that's great. Yeah. Tapped into my intuition. Coaching is where it happens every time. You see, when I'm coaching, I'm connecting with people and they're saying, this is where I am. This is what I want to do. I'm really just kind of wondering how this outcome is not happening for me. And I'm feeling afraid. I'm feeling anxious. I want to create this. I don't know what to do. I ask them a few questions mostly. And the questions that are coming to me to ask them are not coming from my conscious mind. They're coming from my intuition. I'm just tapping into their story, their narrative. I'm literally going into their files, opening their files, and I'm like, yeah, what's happening? I'm reading. I'm like, this is a question, and I ask the question, and 99% of the time, this person is always like, okay, I never thought of that. Wow, do you know, that question has really opened up so much for me right there. Yeah. And then they start to speak. And the next question is presented to me. Intuition. You have it. You can develop it. It's one of your powers. You see, these 6 powers of man are not available to any other creation. They're not available to dogs, horses, cows, cats. They're not available. Yeah. But human beings, we've been given the ability to know and to tap into sources that are not physical, and to really get information, and through our mind capture that information and get that frequency, and then convert it into reality in the physical sense. The second power of man is reason. This is probably the power that you are most conversant with. You've used it a lot. You may have never seen it as a power. You just thought it's an ability that all of us have. And it's the power of reason. It's power of reason. Reason is our ability to be able to make decisions and to separate different sources of information and take one in order to make a decision. Information is coming to us through our 5 senses, the ones that were drummed into us. We can see, we can hear, we can touch, we can taste, we can feel. Okay, we talked about all those powers, yeah. And we can smell. We're like, this is what's happening. All this information I'm getting right now, I want to make a decision. There's an idea that is in my mind about this and about that, and I need to make a decision to move forward. And reason is our power as men to be able to take information, put it together, and make a decision and decide on a next step. That's the power of reason. That's the power of reason. And the power of reason operates so much in the conscious mind. If you would take the mind and draw a circle, and then divide that circle into two so that you have two halves. The top half is the conscious mind. The bottom half is the subconscious mind. The conscious mind, which is 5% of your mind, does the heavy lifting of all the information that is coming to me right now, all this recording, all this conversation that I'm having with you right now, all the factors of where I'm seated and all the weather and the climate and the noise, and I'm putting all those factors into consideration as I'm doing what I'm doing in order to create the outcome and the results that I want. It's more in the present, in the moment, power to deductively say, okay, based on this and this fact and this fact and this information and that information, I'm going to do this and I'm going to go forward. The reason we're able to make decisions in a fraction of a second is because we're able to take information very quickly, analyze it in our minds, and then say, this is the way I'm going to go. And it's the power of reason. We're able to reason. We're able to weigh different ideas, concepts, and make sense of them in the moment. This part of reason is the one that helps you to study. It's the one that helps you to internalize concepts and understand them and see how they work, and to think about those concepts and to apply those concepts into your life to create what you want. That's the second power of man. That's the second power of man. Let's talk about the third power of man, the third power of man, which is perception. Perception is best summarized by this quote from Wayne Dyer. And he said this: if we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And that's really powerful, because as an entrepreneur, I remember in 2018, starting my business as a unit, which was an idea that I had got, again, intuition. I had got an idea of, for me to thrive in my coaching, speaking business, I'm going to take a different route. I had already been in coaching, speaking, and training for about 6 years before that, in 2018. But in 2018, the business is not going the way I want, and I want to make a shift. And I say, what's the next idea? What's going to really work? And I was presented with an idea of bite-sized learning, which is what my leadership training company is called, bite-sized learning. And the idea that came to my mind was to do training and to do it, in bite-sized chunks, not the way that we would do it. We would go in and we would do a full day session, and we would do communication, negotiation, leadership, management, customer service. And that was too much to take in and to give information. It was just a content dump, really. And so I got this idea of bite-sized learning, just short 2 hours, and it's going to be great. And that's it. Like this 30 minutes, you just get it and boom, that's it. And when I got that idea, I began to look at the market. And yes, we were going into political times. We were doing elections here in Kenya. And I began to say, wait a minute, the market looks like this. And I was looking at the market, and I was seeing a market that doesn't have money. I was looking at an economy that is already depressed by politics. I was looking at it and saying, all companies are shredding their training budgets right now. All companies are. And my narrative of how I was looking at the market was, this is not going to take off. Not now. I'm going to need to wait until another 6 months until we get into this favorable business conditions space. That's how I was looking at the market. And I got those results: scarcity, lack, and I was unhappy. I didn't have any business. I mean, it was a little bit here and a little bit there. And then I got this information through another teaching, about how I'm looking at the market, and that the market doesn't have a problem. There's no problem with the market. The market doesn't have a problem. It's your perspective of the market that has a problem. and I began to change my perspective. And that's the power of perception, in that while we're looking at something and seeing it in a certain angle, we actually have the power to change a situation. Have you ever been in discussion with somebody and they told you, no, you're looking at this thing the wrong way? If someone has ever told you that, they were appealing to your power of perception. And if you were a wise person, you would say, okay, so how am I supposed to look at it? And they would say, okay, this is how I want you to look at it. And they reframe it for you differently. And the moment they did that, you said, okay, I see it. In that case, it will work. In that sense, I see it will work. It makes sense. That's perception. And perception really is when we are in the space of being creative and being causative and being co-creators with God. He is always inviting us to his vantage points to see things differently, and to look at things and turn them the way we're seeing them and see, oh, the way I was looking at it was never going to work, but this way, boom, I see an opening. And that's our power. That's a power, perception. And so constantly when you're facing failure, when you're going through challenges, when things are not working, step out. The power of perception is to change the way you're looking at that thing. And the thing you look at changes. It's not the thing that changed. It's the way you were looking at the thing that changed. And now the thing looks different. And that's the power. That's the power. Dogs don't have that power. Like, oh my goodness, I don't think about how tomorrow is going to be. I'm being perceptive right now. No. And this power of perception works so much with intuition, because information is being presented to you that suggests, hey, turn it around. You're only looking at one side. Look at the other side. And that's why we say, I perceive. You're perceiving. And that information comes to you. It's a broadcasting session. You receive the information. And when you take that step to turn the thing around and look at it differently, whoa, I see differently. It looks different now. It looks different because you've looked at it differently. So we've looked at three. We've looked at intuition, we've looked at reason, and we've looked at perception. For those of you who are just joining, we're talking about the 6 powers of man. You were not taught this stuff in school. You only taught the 5 senses. You were not taught about this. I learned this in my 30s. Can you imagine? 30s. What if I knew this in my 20s? So please click like so that this information can go out there. Share this with someone. Just click share. Someone needs to hear this. Please don't let them get to hear this at 60. Share this. And if there's an idea that's really coming to you, please comment. That's the way that you support me. Let's go to the 4th one. The 4th one is will. The 4th one is will. Will. Have you ever heard this comment that says, where there is a will, there is a way? What does it mean? And I came to understand will as our power to be able to hold onto one idea at the exclusion of everything else and to pursue only that one idea. To hold one idea strongly and exclude any other as we pursue that idea. Why were we given this power? We were given this power so that when we are in the creative process, we are able to remain undistracted, to remain unpersuaded, to fight off the negotiation that comes to us. The power of will, as the power of man, is our ability to hold an idea, to hold a dream, to hold a desired outcome and not let go. That's the power of will. You see, when I was dreaming about buying the vehicle that I'm doing this shoot in, I was really kind of scared, because I was thinking, man, that's a lot of money I'm gonna need to spend. Yeah, it's my dream car, but why don't you just buy this? Why don't you just buy this car? Why don't you just buy this other car? Why don't you just downscale? Don't go there. Do this. Don't. And there were all these voices in my head, these committees from my, imagined friends. What are they going to say? Committees from my parents. This is not a good decision. You should be investing right now. And there was this other committee at the back of my mind of, oh yeah, you should, my goodness, you do that, you're going to be like, you won't be able to make that payment anymore. And whenever these conversations are going on in our heads, what you find is that the grip that you had on this thing begins to become loose, and you lose the idea, you lose the focus, you lose the attention that you're holding on to this idea, and you become persuaded to let go, and you let go of this idea, and you don't have what it is that you want. And so because we are receiving information from all different sources about what could be or what could not be, God wanted us to be able to hold on to one idea and to hold on to it long enough until we get the outcome. To want it and to hold on to it until we get that outcome that we want. And so that's one of the powers of men, the will, the ability to hold on to that which we want. And now constantly there's always kind of like a shift or a tussle. I would probably call it a tug of war in our hearts as we create between why power and willpower. Why power and willpower. And both of them have their place. And one of the things you find is that as much as you may have a lot of why power, you're going to need willpower to continue to hold on. The why power fuels the willpower. The why power fuels the willpower. You can't just say, no, I only have why power and I don't need willpower. No, you need why power and you need willpower to hold on to an idea. Whenever you're feeling like, oh my goodness, this is too much. This is the price for this is getting high. I'm really getting exhausted. The why power comes in and says, remember, look at the future. Look at the idea, the outcome that you desire. It's going to happen. Keep holding on to it. And you tighten your grip. Yeah, now I remember why I'm doing this. Let's go. Yeah, this is the decision I made. I'm going to create this outcome. That's what I want. I'm going for it. So why power and willpower work together. They're not enemies. They're not enemies. For most people, why their willpower fails is because mostly they don't have why power. They don't have enough why power. And so when this committee comes, no, stop it. Yeah, you think you can win in COVID? No, don't do that during COVID. Everybody's suffering. Every business is going down. No, everybody's being fired. No, you never make it. Don't make those kind of things, these ideas. And God is presenting to you an idea through your intuition and saying, that's where you need to go. That's what's next. You need to invest in this direction. You can sense it. And now you're looking at things differently. And oh my goodness, it makes sense. Reason. I get it. Oh, now, okay, let me hold on to this idea and all this persuasion comes. If you don't have why power, you're going to lose the game. Let's go to the fifth one. The fifth one is memory. Memory. Now, this mental faculty, power of the mind, I love to call it powers of the mind. This power of the mind, memory, is our ability to hold a picture in our mind of a desired future. Now, this mental faculty of memory works very well with this sixth power of the mind, mental faculty, called imagination. So let's jump to number 6, the last one, imagination. Imagination. We are the only creation by God that can travel into the future. That can travel into the future. And as we travel into the future, we can create a desired future. Right now, in 5 minutes, if I give you an opportunity, you can travel to the US, Japan, UK, Canada, China, South Africa, whatever country, and build your mansion, fly your family there, live in there for 1 year, see the kind of friends you have, see your neighbor, see the car you're driving, see the restaurants that you love to eat in. I'm taking you on a journey, but you're seated, you're watching, you're looking at me. Your mind has the power to go into the future. You have this ability to go into the future and to create what you want and to see images of a certain desired lifestyle. And then when you come back into the present, you see everything looks different from what I saw in the future, but you have the power to continue to move into that future. This power of imagination is underutilized. Our only limitation, Napoleon Hill says that man's only limitation is in the way that he uses the power of imagination. In other words, we use the power of imagination to imagine everything that could go wrong. We imagine all the failure that we will experience. We imagine all the way things are going to go bad. And we use that power completely, but to create what we don't want. We go into the future and we see how COVID has come. 6 months from now, I will not even be having a job. I will not even be having an income. Guess what? I'll be dead. I think a friend of mine says, someone told him at the end of it all, at some point, all of us will have COVID. They've gone into the future. They've seen themselves sick in bed, dying, coughing, struggling. We create what we don't want. And yet this power is given to us so that we can create what we want, so that we can go into the future and create what we want. Let me tell you a way that I noticed where you all use imagination in the simplest way. Tomorrow is Sunday. Tomorrow is Sunday. For most of you watching this is Reinvention Saturdays. Click like and comment. Thank you so much for doing that. For those of you watching, tomorrow is Sunday. And for most people, they have like their Sunday best, like this nice clothes you wear when you're going somewhere for a function, you're going to church, you want to look dapper and great and everything. Yeah, you got that. Now you can already visualize today's Saturday, tomorrow is Sunday. You can visualize yourself wearing that dress, wearing that coat, that suit, that shirt, that trouser, that whatever you're going to wear, and the shoes. You can see yourself there showing up, looking all sharp and great. You can see that in your mind's eye, like, wait, I'll dunga this thing, I'll be looking so sharp tomorrow. You can see that. You can visualize that. That's the power of imagination in the simplest way. We think about the business meeting we'll go in tomorrow. We think about when we go into that meeting, what the conversation is going to be. What will this person say? How am I going to present? We put down a presentation and we think about how the presentation will go. And we see ourselves presenting tomorrow in the meeting, in the boardroom, doing this pitch, doing this sales, pitch and whatever that may be, and or doing this presentation or report, and how people will receive it and how they will clap. We go into the future, we visualize ourselves, we see success, but we don't use the same faculty of imagination to go into the future to actually create the exact conditions and circumstances that we want. That's the sixth power. And this sixth power works very well with the fifth power, memory, because once I go into the future and I have a clear picture of my life, I have a clear picture of how much I'm earning, I have a clear picture of the influence I'm having in society, I have a clear picture of where the lifestyle that I have, where I live with my children, which schools they go to. I have a clear picture of my body and how it looks like, my temple, how it looks like. I have a clear picture of my relationships with my friends, with my parents, with workmates. I have a clear picture of the future and how it's going to be. Once I'm able to see that picture and really have it so clear, I can hold it in my memory as something that has already happened. You can remember 5 days ago where you were. If I ask you to go and tell me where were you 5 days ago and the people that you met with and what were you doing, that picture is seared into your memory. You can remember it. The word to remember, put it together. Members, remember, put it together and see, yeah, I've seen this picture before. This was 5 days ago. I was traveling, I was in a meeting, I was all home, I was with my kids. This is what I was doing. I can remember that image. That is a memory. Similarly, we've been gifted by God with this power to go into the future using the power of imagination and to see that future and to create it and to have pictures of it. Because we think in pictures. When I say banana, when I say pineapple, when I say Lamborghini, you don't see the words banana, pineapple. You see the image, poop, banana, yellow, poop, pineapple, orange with green leaves, poop, Lamborghini, red, Ferrari. when I say these images, these things, you see images, we think in images. So you're able to go into the future and you're able to see, this is the future that I have. And you're able to hold that memory of your future, even when you're coming into the present, and say, I'm going here. I have a roadmap. And to see that image, that's memory. That's the power that we've been given by God, that we're able to go in the future, see this image, and then when we come back, this image of the future becomes a memory. Just like yesterday's events are a memory, this future image of where I desire to be, go, do, have, that future image becomes a memory. I know it. It has happened in my future. And using the faculty and the power of will, hold on to the realization of this picture. In my memory, I see this life and I'm holding on to it with will. And as I go through life, I face situations and circumstances that tell me that I will not achieve this. And I'm able to change the way I'm looking at circumstances and situations in order to create favorable conditions to create the life that I want. And perception as a power helps me to change the way I'm looking at things, and the things I look at change, and then I'm able to create results. And in the process, I am really reasoning and deductively saying, so if I go this way, this is going to be like this. And if I go that way, this is going to be like this. So I think in the best circumstances, this is how I need to go and make these things happen. And while all that is happening, I'm working with God, and He is constantly presenting me with next steps and ideas and saying, go this way. When we're walking and running, He's going to say, go this way. He says, it's written in the Bible that, you will hear a voice behind you saying, this is the way, walk ye in it. And we always get these ideas. We call it a hunch. We call it a gut feel. You say, this thing told me, I just had this thing to say, go this way, or don't go, or don't run, wait right now. We all have these hunches. We call them hunches, gut feel, whatever. That's intuition. God's talking to you. God's talking to you. He's always guiding, he's always directing. Doesn't matter who you are, he's always guiding and directing. Doesn't matter your lifestyle, he's always guiding and directing. You are his creation, and he has vested interest in you delivering what he created you for. And so these are the 6 powers of man. And it's unfortunate we never got to hear this early in life. But now that you have it, I want you to really step into that intentional space of creating that which you know is possible through you and for you. What life do you see? Imagination. See that, make it concrete, and then come back into the present and hold that memory of a future that has happened. Where did it happen? It happened in your imagination. Hold that memory, and hold that memory with the power of will. With the power of will, and add why power. Why power? Because why power? Add that. And as you hold it, be open to change the way you look at things, because a lot of how you see things is impacted by your beliefs, by your values, by your meaning-making systems, by how you are brought up, and the circumstances and the events that you went through. They dictated how you look at things. And so because of your experiences, that's your lens. We just need to change your lens. And that's perception. You change the lens and things look different. And that perception helps you then to say, oh, now I can see it differently. In this case, it's going to work, and pursue that, make it happen, while being very deductive and reasoning and looking at things. At the same time, being open and saying, God, what's the next step? How do I move from here? And as you follow that hunch, as you follow intuition is saying, go this way, kaboom, your future becomes a reality. Thank you so much for joining me here today. It has been Reinvention Saturday. Today we talked about the 6 powers of man. Kindly like, comment, and share. That's my only ask of you. If you dropped by, like, comment, and share. Be well. God bless you. Bye for now, and see you next Saturday, 9:30 a.m. East African time, right here, as we talk about a new topic. Amazing. Bless you. Be well. Bye for now.